Hi everyone, it's me, Krylios, Team Rayceen Productions MC and producer. And joining me today is singer extraordinaire, Billy Winn. How are you,
Hey, what's up,
Billy?
guys? I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm so glad that you were able to join us today, to come in for a quick chat. Tell me, how have things been? How have things been going since this whole pandemic? What's everything like? How are you holding up?
It's been different. Like the pandemic itself, I think is a horrible situation, obviously.
Yeah.
A lot of people, especially here in America, are suffering tremendously because of it. But there's some silver lining that came along with it for me, just in terms of having an opportunity to sort of stop and reset and evaluate some of the things that were going on personally and professionally.
Yeah.
So at this point, what are we, 4 months in? I think.
Yeah, just about March, April. Yeah, just about, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's become normal for me now because there was a brief moment where, like everybody, I didn't know what I was going to do. But once I figured everything out, I haven't stopped moving, thankfully. So it's been a process, but it's still been busy, which is good. I've still been able to work and just continuing to adjust because I don't foresee it going back to what we thought of as normal.
Of course, definitely.
Yeah.
And I know right before it started, right before everything started, you were doing your residency. Tell us a little bit about that. And with frequent Team Rayceen collaborator, DJ Honey. So, tell us about that and, what happened.
So I had a residency here in DC at one of the newer spots called Red Bear Brewing, which is not a gay bar per se, but it's the owners are gay. It's extremely gay friendly. The clientele is very gay, and so we thought it would be a good idea to sort of diversify the type of performers that they had there. So I decided to do a residency, just like 5 months, and see how it would go, and maybe continue from there. As a touring artist, it was a new experience for me because I'm used to being on the road, go with my performances. But it was an amazing experience, just first of all, being home, like in DC, and being able to do everything from one location rather than like getting dressed in the trunk, you know what I mean? And then walking across the grass in my outfit to do the show or whatever the situation might have been. It was a great experience. And I was only able to do, technically it was 2 shows. New Year's was sort of the intro. They introduced the show, and then January and February. By March, the show had gotten canceled. It's funny that you mentioned DJ Honey because March was going to be her debut on the show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was going to start. The plan was to like open the show for a few months and then start to bring in other LGBTQ performers, rappers, singers, DJs, certain drag acts. They already had a drag show there, so I didn't want to step on anyone's toes. But if they weren't already doing that show, then invite them.
That would be great. Yeah, we love drag, Honey.
And Honey was supposed to do March. We were doing the flyers on Instagram and everything, and then that week the show got canceled.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's been canceled indefinitely since then.
Yeah, because honestly, no one knows, when we will return to, or come back to some semblance of what we knew before, really.
Yeah.
So it's like,
as far as the actual live gigs, it's hard to say. Everybody on like the management side of things for me is just kind of waiting it out. Yeah, because they don't know what to do. Like you can't really, unless it's virtual. There's nothing to
I was going to ask that. How have you adapted in this time? Because you are a performer and it's in you to perform. So how have you adapted?
I've spent a lot of time over the last few months just really having conversations with my followers, just talking about things on a more personal level, which I'm not really used to doing. I like to keep everything or put everything into my work and into my music. But I also, until recently, didn't have a real way to perform for them. the way that I normally would. You know, I did a couple of like lives where I would just sit and sing. And it was intimate, it was cool, but as a performer, that gets boring to me.
Yeah.
Because I want to give a show. And so, you know, being here at home and trying to figure out like where I could do that and like not break something, like including my leg or my neck, has been a bit of a challenge. But it has been one of those things where you have to rise to the occasion and just find ways to make it work, whether it's performing in the alleyway behind the house, because you know, now people know what is happening in the world. So it wouldn't be so strange if you're like in a public space and you're, you know, doing your thing and people are like, well, why is he there? Well, because we're in the pandemic.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, but you know, up until then, I've definitely just been having really intimate conversations with my fans and my listeners, hearing their stories and telling them my stories, you know, while I've written certain songs, or just for people who don't really know who I am, what my claim to fame has been up to this point. And I use that term loosely, but still, you know what I mean? Like,
you know, tell me how you got into music in the first place. Tell me, you know, how was that? How did that develop? It
wasn't any different from, I think, any kid. I started performing really young, and I did it because I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
Not because I recognized that I had a talent. The adults in my life recognized that I had a talent. And so I would get cast for different projects in school. And then from there, I had a music teacher who was really connected with the theater scene in Pittsburgh. That's where I'm from. And so I started doing professional theater as a kid. Still, you know, doing it because it was fun, not realizing that I was getting paid or that it was a job. It was just, you know, I'm 7 or 8 years old. It's just fun for me.
Yeah.
And then around 12, I think it was, like, I was obsessed with music videos. Like, I've always been obsessed. I'm still obsessed with music videos. And I was watching music videos one day, and I was just like, I can do this. Like, I do this all the time. And from there, I feel like that was when I was bitten, so to speak, and have just been on the pursuit since then. My first record, like the one that people tend to recognize, came out in 2014. It's called Future Ex-Boyfriend. And it was the first record of mine to go to Billboard. So that was kind of where things sort of took off to that next level. Things went south after that. not for me per se, but with the label and the record and everything. And so since then, I've just been working as an underground pop artist, writing and still making music, but finding an alternative for now to the labels, because that situation really put a bad taste in my mouth. And you know, there's always talk and interest, but I'm just a little apprehensive right now. That's very understandable. That is very, very understandable. Tell me what it is like, that, you know, being a singer but also being queer, what that is like for you in the industry, how you've navigated that. How's that been for you? It's a constant navigation, especially here in America, because you tend to get put in a box. Like the first box is always one that has to do with your skin color. So I have to constantly tell people who don't know who I am that I'm not a rapper. Because
I do pop, honey. I do pop.
Yeah, that's the first thing that comes out of people's mouth is, "Oh, you rap," and I'm like, "No, I don't rap." Like, there's nothing wrong with rapping, obviously,
of course,
but it's just not what I do, you know. And it's offensive because you're only asking me that because I'm black. And then when I say no, I don't rap, or the other thing that I get, because it doesn't always come right behind each other. The other thing I get is that I'll start having a conversation with someone and they will start talking to me about R&B music, which is fine. You know, some of my stuff is R&B-ish, but also, you know, just ask me what I do and I'll be happy to tell you. So you get a lot of that you have to constantly navigate. I don't take any of it personally. Obviously, it's the way that we tend to be conditioned as far as what we see in media.
Yeah.
But it's important for me through what I do with my music to constantly, we'll say, inform people that there are so many avenues and so many ways to express yourself, and that Black people and gay people are three-dimensional. So it's not always going to be the same archetype that you see.
Yeah,
and that's okay. You know, when I make records, and I put them out to the world, people who have come out to me, like it's funny with straight guys that listen to me and don't want to admit that they're listening, because they know more about the music than they should.
Yeah.
But what I'll get is, like, for a song like Future Ex-Boyfriend, like, I'm not gay, but I can really relate to that. And my response is always, it's not, you don't have to be gay to.
Yeah, you don't.
Like, it was not written for that. It was written for the circumstance, because we all have casual relationships that we don't want to go any further than that. So you don't have to be gay to enjoy it, and you shouldn't feel like you have to be gay to enjoy it. So that's one of the things that I think I spend a lot of time navigating in the industry. That, and then the other thing is this necessity that comes with people feeling like if it's not drag, then it isn't gay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
I do. I get that.
I've dealt with that for a long time, like just even being here in DC.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like on the performance scene, like I have been, Red Bear was really the first opportunity that I had to perform where I didn't have to state my case.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that my work spoke for itself, what I do as a performer. You know, I mean, all you have to do is Google me and you'll see what I do. Yeah. So it isn't as if I'm asking for a first shot. You know what I mean? Like I'm coming to the table with a lot.
Yes, with a body of work, with, you know, experience, with, you know.
The whole thing, you know, and for a lot of the places that have ceased to exist, actually, in the last few months.
And they've just been shutting the doors like.
I think at one point, I think it was like late April, early May, it was like back to back to back.
Yes, back to back to back.
I couldn't believe it, but a lot of those places never let me perform. Like they did not want it if it wasn't drag. You know, I'm not gonna name names because that's shady, but a lot of those places, they were just flat out like, if it's not drag, then we don't want it.
Then we don't want it. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it's really, really interesting to see how you navigate the queerness in non-queer spaces and within queer spaces, because, you know, there's pushback and there's hardships and whatever in both arenas, you know, so that is definitely something.
It's important to me. You know, I know what I want to be as an artist and as a public figure. Yeah. And I also know what I don't want. And I don't want to be in a place where I've been backed into a corner and I can't work because people see me this way or that way. Yeah. Like, it's one of the reasons I enjoy making pop music, because it's hard to pin down.
Yes, it is.
You know what I mean? Everybody listens to pop music, essentially. It doesn't matter if it's like Beyonce type pop where it's soulful, you know what I'm saying? It has a lot of flavor, a lot of attitude, or if it's like Katy Perry type pop where it's just, you know,
bubblegum pop. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Everybody finds joy in.
Listen, I love pop music the host though. And you know, growing up as a little gay kid, pop music is what gave me my life.
Pop music was everything to me. And I never, like, it wasn't until getting in this industry that I even started to recognize what I was doing artistically from what everybody else was doing. Because for me, it's all pop. Like, if it's on TV, if people are listening to it, then it's pop. Like, that's where it comes from. You know what I mean? But people start to break those things down with, you know, color and race and sexual orientation and all these labels that at the end of the day don't mean anything. You know, it's just about the work and the music and being able to being able to transcend those things and work as a queer artist in the straight world and in the queer world means a lot to me. And it's something that I continue to work on every single day.
Of course, of course. And as we're wrapping up, I want you to let our audience know, one, how they can find your music, how they can support you, how they can follow you on all forms of social media, and anything that you might have coming up. So go ahead and plug everything.
Okay, cool. So I'm all over all the digital platforms. Just search my name. It's BILLYWINN. Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, Tidal, everywhere. So wherever you listen to music, I'm there. As far as social media, I'm all over social media, but I spend most of my time on Instagram. So if you search Billy Winn Music on any platform, you'll find me. But if you want to interact with me, then definitely hit me up on Instagram, follow me, and definitely do so in the next few weeks. I have something coming out very soon that I can't talk about yet. But if you follow me on Instagram, you'll definitely get those updates in the coming weeks before the end of summer.
Thank you so much. And you've collaborated with Team Rayceen before. I think you performed at the Sexy Season finale a couple of years ago or something.
I did.
Yes, of course. So we look forward. We're so grateful for this interview. And we look forward to the next time we're able to meet again in person and do something together. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. And to our viewers, thank you for watching.